Alrighty guys, the UEFA draws have been made. We've found out who Kilmarnock and St Mirren will be getting respectively in the qualifiers. So yeah, let's dive into it. Let's react to it. Kilmarnock have been drawn against Belgian side Bruges, but it ain't Club Bruges, it is Cercle Brugge, and they will play on the 25th of July and the 1st of August. I believe the home tie comes first for Kilmarnock, and then they have to go away to Belgium on the 1st of August. Now, this is probably one of the better ties Kilmarnock could have got in terms of with a chance to go through, because you have Braga in there, you have Ajax in there, Panathinaikos in there. There is some good teams in there that I think are probably too good for Kilmarnock to beat overall. And while Kilmarnock are certainly the underdogs for this tie, I believe that they could still go through. I think if they play to their best over two legs, they've got a chance of defeating Cercle Brugge. But then let's look at St Mirren then in the UEFA Europa Conference League. And we can see they were in Group 1 and they will get the winner of Match 9. Now, I thought that the seeds were still to be drawn versus the seeds. I thought they just narrowed it down into the groups, but apparently St Mirren will be getting the winner of Match 9, which is Valur of Iceland or Flansinana of Albania. So St Mirren should be beating both of them. I would expect St Mirren to get past them unscathed, and not just get past them. We need St Mirren to beat them in both games. All about the coefficient. We need to be picking up 2 wins against these shit teams, right? Just getting past them isn't enough, because we're currently level with Czech Republic on goal difference right now. And like I said in the previous video, had Hibernian beat that crap team from, is it Gibraltar or Malta or Andorra. Had Hibernian even drawn against them in the first game, we would be ahead of Czech Republic and we would still have that one guaranteed team in the Champions League. So it's not just about getting through to the next round. Winning games, drawing games is important. And over the past 5 years, 6 years, 7 years, for probably as long as I've been alive, Scottish teams have just dropped too many coefficient points in games that they should have easily won.
No, they have, and last season was a perfect example of that. Again, but it's unfair though, because, you know, Aberdeen, I think, counteracted pretty much what the other teams failed to do, because no one expected Aberdeen to do that well, and albeit they could have done better, but Aberdeen were good in 6 games against good teams.
I think Rangers have done that as well though in qualifiers, haven't they? They've like maybe lost the opening game, but then went through anyway, but it's like they should have, like, I remember against Union Saint Gallen.
Against Servette as well.
I mean, Rangers should be winning both of those ties.
Both only picked up a point, but beat Betis twice. Picked up 4 against Prague.
Yeah, so...
But again, I think there's more teams to pick on outside the Rangers.
No, there is, but just looking at how close the coefficient is with Czech Republic, just turning one defeat into a draw, or turning one draw into a win, would have been enough to, with hindsight obviously, to get us ahead of Czech Republic and to still give us one guaranteed team in the UEFA Champions League. So when you factor that in, I mean, you telling me there's not at least 3 or 4 games last season in Europe where Scottish teams should have got a better result than they did? I'm not talking about performances, I'm talking about on paper.
Of course there is. I mean, that game for Hibs was embarrassing. I mean, they're taking on less than part-timers, man.
So can we agree that St Mirren should be beating Valur of Iceland and Flansinana of Albania in the second qualifying round, and should be beating them twice? Yeah. I want a home win, I want an away win, I want a double win, and I want both coefficient victories in the bag. That's what I'm looking for, and that's what we should be getting.
I agree with that. No excuses. What about Kilmarnock though?
Yeah, so let's talk a little bit more about Kilmarnock then. They're playing at Cercle Brugge. I think it's a winnable tie, but Kilmarnock are the underdogs, so there is no doubt about it. But it could have been worse. It could have been Braga. It could have been Ajax. It's hard to see anyway Kilmarnock get past them over 2 legs. But I think if Kilmarnock can be at their best against this side, then they do have a chance.
No, I would agree. I mean, you hear Bruges and you shite yourself, but it's no Club Bruges, it's Cercle Brugge. So, again, you'd much rather them taking on these two, this team, than the other two, like Ajax. But, again, I'm not going to criticise Kelly too much if they drop the ball here, but for St Mirren, I will, because that they're whatever team they play, it has to be bare minimum. You know, the 4 points out of 6, so to speak. But they should be beating them twice. As for Kelly, we'll have to wait and see. But I've got faith in Kelly. See the Rugby Park pitch in Europe. We've waited a long time since the Conakry Nomad disaster, and it can't be as bad as that, because that was horrendous.
It wasn't great.
But talking of horrendous, Steve Clark, what's he doing? Because I know this video's going to go up, and I haven't really given a thought on the Scotland starting 11 against bloody Switzerland. But what in the name of good God is happening there?
Don't know. I think Steve Clark has got it massively wrong. Just an absolute failure of a man. I mean, not to be...
Best case scenario, Kelly shite the bed in these qualifiers and we get Derek McKinn's in. There you go.
And Steve Clark goes back to Kelly.
There you go, aye.
But this is what I want to talk about, so let's look at Cercle Brugge's last season then, just to see what kind of team they are. So, they made a couple of signings. They are... what was their biggest fee in terms of bringing a player in? They brought in Felipe Augusto from Corinthians for €3 million. The other signing that they made that was any value to it was Alan Minda from Independiente del Valle in Ecuador for €2 million. So, I mean, you can see straight away for the transfers that this club is making, right? Yes, they will be favourites, but they're not an Ajax who are bringing in 20 million or Braga 15-10. You know, they're a good team and they're probably better than Kilmarnock.
They're probably about halfway in the gap between Kilmarnock and the Old Firm. Is that a fair assumption?
I would say, well, the way I see it, right, Celtic and Rangers would be expected to beat Cercle Brugge, I would say, over 2 legs.
Yes.
We've seen Kilmarnock put up great performances against Celtic and Rangers. Why can't they deliver those same great performances in Europe against this team? And I see no reason why they can't be in the next round.
Why not? It has to be. You have to be get involved.
In terms of selling players last season, they sold Japanese forward Udea to Feyenoord for €9 million and Damon to Werder Bremen for €4 million. So, I mean, obviously they must have players that are worth a decent amount of money. I don't really see Kilmarnock selling anybody for €9 million, so maybe that gives you a guide here at the level. But then again, we know that in Scotland, players don't really go for money unless you're Celtic or Rangers, so I don't think you can even use that really as too much of a guide. If we look at their finishing position in the Belgian league, they finished 5th, 4 points behind Club Brugge, who finished in 4th place with 41 points. Cercle Brugge finished ahead of both Genk and Ghent. So is that telling you the quality of this team here?
They must be decent. I mean, I'm not going to lie and pretend that Kelly will be bastards. They don't, pick up something here. But I think what Kelly's focus should be group stage football, regardless of the competition.
Yeah, Belgian Cup, they got knocked out in the 7th round, whatever round that is. I'm going to assume that's
quite late.
It must be late because you can't have that many rounds, but
I think that's the semis or quarters.
But they did get knocked out on the 31st of October 2023, so that would kind of tell me that could be relatively early.
Maybe they do rounds reversed, which makes no sense.
It happened in October, so I mean, how late would their domestic cup final be? I can't imagine that's very far.
Well, ours is sometimes in December. Well, most of the time it's in December.
Scottish League Cup, mate.
Maybe that's their first.
This is the Belgian Cup, the real cup. Anyway, look, point is, guys, Club Cercle Brugge, they look like they are a decent team, but I don't think they're unbeatable. And I think Kilmarnock can get something. As for St Mirren, needs to be 2 wins. As for Scotland tonight, it can't be a defeat, let's put it that way. We'll catch you guys in the next one. Until then, peace.